Hello, welcome to the Ghost Pepper Lollipop, where the takes are spicy, the host is sweet, mostly, and we engage multiple things can be true at once and often are. Today, y'all got me doing another why I left the general left. I don't claim the general left, like just being on the left. Number one, it's not clear. Like I'm not a lib, I'm not a Democrat, by a lot, and the left is just not clear. Um, for today, why I left the left is men. Y'all are why. I had to narrow it down. I had to become an intersectional feminist, secular humanist lollipop because y'all ain't got no sense, and I can't just claim to be on the general left with y'all muddy ass misogynists out there acting like that's not a big part of the problem. So here we are doing another why I left the left video because another one of these men out here acting a fool. You're acting a fool while we're fighting for our lives, but y'all men don't know when to stop, do you? Do you? Proving you're predators. Proving that if you don't unpack it, you still engage it. Because that's the truth about this misogyny thing, and most particularly about the rape behavior and the rape pyramid behavior and the things that lead to rape behavior and the different types of sexual assault that happen that y'all ignore and pretend aren't that bad because it isn't happening to you. The problem with that is it's so ingrained in y'all that if you don't unpack it, you accidentally continue the behaviors. Because what I'm always telling you is the truth. Everything you stuff down and don't deal with becomes a behavior. And we were all raised in this white supremacist, misogynist, patriarchal society, and we all have it to unpack. Women just aren't out there raping 1 out of 4 men. That's men that do that to women. Women aren't out there holding on to violence like a squishy teddy bear and begging to be able to hurt more people to make themselves feel better. Men are. Y'all are the reason why it is safer for us on average, and we know it, that it is safer for us on average to be in the room with a whole wild bear than to be in a room with y'all. And that should make you sad. It should make you at least as sad as it makes me. And this one is for the lefty men. Well, and this is why I will never tell you not all men. Because even the good men are terrible. The best man is still the worst woman. And unfortunately, today I have to show that. We got to call out our own and make a habit of it and show the accountability taking place and show that we will not accept just any little lip service. Thoughts and prayers are not a material assistance. They're not even a spiritual assistance. Let's be really, really, real here. And your thoughts and prayers type apology does nothing. You need to unpack it. Why do you do it? Is Ghost Pepper right? Is it because the thing they told me not to be was a girl? Is that why? And if that's true, if the reason why this behavior feels okay because of that, does that mean I don't like women? Unpack it, process it, and change how you feel all the way through you, because if you will believe the shit that you has been put in your head, you will believe you when you go to change it. And you can. It's just going to take some work. Sure, it's not your fault that that shit got put in your head. Yeah, now I'll grant you that. It does not matter in the impact, though. In the impact of it, your behavior matters and it hurts people. And we have to discuss it. And so many of y'all are going to be upset by the end of this one. And here we are. Let's have a talk. And for this conversation, I'm going to be using the public offender and looking at what he has to say, because I really think that one of the things that we can do to help make accountability feel better and stuff is those of us doing this specific work, we prop each other up. Secondly, I think that for me as a person that is femme coded, I should uplift the guys that are doing the real work, the good work, especially those that are doing the work like Public. And really, he's out there unpacking it for real. And that is a big deal. And so I think it's important that some of us are out there cheering those men. I want you to be one of those men. I want you to be actively doing this work. We do need you doing the work out at your job and day to day at the gym with the guys you hang out with. I likely should have had the mic here off the jump. I didn't. My bad. My apologies. Let's go.
It would seem that misogyny is so pervasive that it doesn't matter what a man's politics are. His default is to be misogynistic, which means if you are a man and you are misogynistic and you haven't unpacked it, right? If you suppressed it, if you mask it, if you haven't really addressed it, and you haven't fully embraced it, that you are misogynistic and that you need to do something about it, and you're not doing the work, and you suppress it, it will ultimately come up. It will bubble up at some point.
Well, looky there. Looky there. A man said it too. We believe it now, right? A man said it too. You just believe it now? Yeah? I believe it now. You believe it now. Yeah, because man said it too. Listen to the man. He said it. He said it too.
I was just talking to a friend of mine right now about an interaction that I had with a woman online. And I was saying how even in that moment when I was disagreeing with this woman, she was disagreeing with me, and she was playing in my face. She was lying, whatever, right? Like it was a whole thing. She was a pick me and she was lying and stuff. But at no point in time in that interaction on my behalf did I feel like I was upset, like I was like on the verge of like being disrespectful or you know what I mean? Like I was, calling her out of her name never popped into my brain. I can disagree with women and not even get anywhere close to being like violent, even in my words, right? Especially in my actions, of course not, but like even in my words.
I love that verbiage. Violent in your words, because words can be violent. There are so many things that aren't physical violence, that aren't punching and slapping and cutting and etc., that are violence. And I love this verbiage. I love this accountability and honesty about the things that go through his mind. And I love that that is not to tear the woman down. Like, that's because he's done the work. And you can tell that he doesn't get defensive. I've been to his lives and things. He doesn't get defensive in the way of, I have to prove this, that I'm not a misogynist, that he gets passionate about the truth about it. He gets passionate in the same way that I am passionate about it, but he's passionate about this topic because he cares about it, because he's obviously doesn't want, like me, to just be like, okay, 50% of the population just sucks ass and that's how we have to be, because that isn't how we have to be. I mean, you don't have to model that. You don't have to say, okay, this is how it is because this is how it was traditionally. We grow and evolve and change as a species. We've been doing that for eons. And if we stop doing that just because it's uncomfortable to do it this time, and we may not see the next wonderful thing. Like, you like your cell phone, you like your video game, you like the things that you play with, all of this easier tech, like not having to chop a tree with a hand axe or a hand saw. Pretty great, right? You like these advancements. And so sometimes those advancements need to come in the way we engage with one another. I think that traditions are important, so many of them. And a lot of the time, the tradition and the culture, what's important about it is the vibe, the way that it celebrates your history and your culture. So it's not so much this specific activity has to be this ritual way as it is we have to come together and create this vibe with one another. Or at least I think that that is how it will serve us best. I do come from a nationality that, well, a race that has been genocided, and to the point that I look like this. And before you say, you don't look me, well, look what colonization has done to my nation. Huh, Puddle? These kinds of things happen when colonization, huh? Anyway, back to the point. So if we aren't constantly unpacking our biases and such, we can get stuck in traditions and things that aren't serving us. And I, being from a race that has been genocided and whose culture and practices was outlawed for a long time, I understand this really viscerally. Like, there's so much that we need to reconnect with in order to be able to evolve our cultures and societies and traditions. So please, fellow cousins, please know that I am not necessarily speaking to us, because we have to reclaim in order to evolve our things, and it's an unfair thing that has been denied us. So this little bit is probably more for like the white people that are holding on to these violent traditions. Either way, in all of us, we have to look at our traditions and our practices and etc. and decide what is serving us and what will serve the future. What things are actually incredibly important that our children learn? What are the core tenets of who we are? And as a species, what are those? Because honestly, race is a cudgel. Race is a cudgel that white people designed to be able to abuse those that they can label as other. And we can see that very clearly in what they are doing right now. These are white supremacists that are assaulting American cities. This siege is a siege of white supremacists. It does not matter if some of those agents have brown skin. There is internalized racism and internalized misogyny. There are pick me women and etc. and so forth. This is a white supremacist siege on Americans, and they will continue to come after brown people. And but when they're done getting the ones of us they want, they'll come for y'all as well. You white people, the queer people, that aren't on the list right now because just our trans siblings are, they're going to come for the rest of you queer people. They're going to come for us all. They don't care about us. They care only about their profits. They would enslave us all to be able to keep everything for themselves. And they will use some of us as tools to do so. Do not be a tool. Don't be a tool. And those of you that are tools, just prepare to be alone, because you gonna be real lonely after the trials. You can be so lonely. You're going to only have each other for friends. As I was saying about the culture and traditions, if we don't unpack them and check them and grow them and evolve them, we can be stuck in patterns of rape cycles and such like we're in now. And I fear that currently that is one of the biggest problems with white supremacy, is they would like to hold on to their superiority of race so much, and they would like to hold those racial distinctions so strongly and much that any muddying of their purity is seen as erasure, and they are violently fighting against the loss of their privilege, because to the very privileged, equity feels like oppression, and they are proving that that is what they think is happening. So if you did not believe them before in what they were saying, look at what they are doing.
And I come across so many men that will come on panels and you will talk to them and they'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, they do like the monotone, like they're so cool, calm, and collected. And then as soon as women start to push back against them, you can see the hate, you can hear the hate in it. They're not raising their tone or anything yet. And then out of nowhere, they'll just explode and they'll.
If you remember, we did this video on Lundy Bancroft's book, Why Does He Do That? This is often water torturer type. He believes that if he maintains this image that he's in control, and he maintains his voice in a monotone, and he uses these these polite words, even though he's saying mean things. If he says sir and ma'am and etc., then he's holding up this decorum. And if you're not decorous while he is demeaning you, then you are a bad person. It's the water torturer type abuser. And I see them so often, especially on some of the call-in shows I watch. I do watch call-in shows. I do actually listen to men and like what they're saying to other content creators, and I talk to men myself as well. I do have another channel, and I'm not giving you what that channel is, but I do have another channel where I hang out with more trusted people and we do some things together. So I do talk to men, and I also do engage in the content of like the line call-in show is one of my favorites. And I find this oftentimes you'll have these men that think that if they're using the sirs and ma'ams and please and thank yous, or if they're just talking in a monotone like this and telling you, I'm being polite to you. I know that I just told you that that puppy deserved to be shot in the face, but you shouldn't take what I said as upsetting because I am talking to you in this nice tone. I'm being polite to you. Why are you being so impolite? I know that I just told you that I would spray blood all over you just to upset you, but why? Why are you so upset? Can you not hear that I'm speaking to you in a calm tone? Calm down. I know I just told you I want to crack your head open against the concrete because you disobeyed me, but you are just being loud. Why do you need to be so loud? Do you hear me getting loud? And they think that that tone and that way of speaking where they're maintaining this decorum, it's the same sort of gaslighting shit that Congress uses. They think that is the end all, for lack of a better way of saying it. It's sort of the same concept as being silent while Uncle Tommy is saying racist crap at the table. If you're just silent while Uncle Tommy says that racist crap and you just sit there and say nothing, or you awkwardly laugh or whatever, you are telling Uncle Tommy it is okay to be racist in front of you. It doesn't bother you at all.
There are these very, very dark, and I don't mean that physically, I mean like very dark forces that exist inside of these men because they're not really doing the work. And you can kind of, I'm not saying like I could tell because I don't really know much about this content creator personally. I've seen him come up on my FYP a few times. I've never followed him, and I don't like to do that like, because now he's in some hot water, he's done something egregious. It's like I always knew. I didn't always know. I just never liked him. Like, that's all I will say. For whatever reason, I just never liked him. I never gravitated towards him, But he did something very bad recently. And I'm going to show you a video of his so you guys can know who I'm talking about.
We now have reports that ICE have changed tactics to target children. According to staff members on the ground at some Minneapolis and St. Paul schools, plainclothes ICE agents have been approaching volunteers and staff impersonating journalists and members of Indivisible. They have been asking about transportation operations for children, been asking to take pictures and videos of the operations that they have going on. They also asked if they're doing plate checks on vehicles and what systems they had in place for child safety.
I think he's doing some good work. I like that video, right?
I agree. And this is where we have to start remembering and fully engaging in our minds. Multiple things can be true at the same time. Multiple things are often true at the same time. There are no perfect perpetrators. There are no perfect victims. There are no perfect people. I am not a perfect person. That you are not a perfect person. They are not a perfect person. We are each of us capable of doing awful shit. Let me repeat that. We are each of us capable of doing awful shit. If we are not unpacking our biases and going to the mirror and checking ourselves and combing the knots out of our hair and taking good care of ourselves, we more than likely will do some awful shit. If you are not processing it, unpacking it, managing it, and dealing with it, you are at risk of turning it into a behavior that you hate yourself for. And you're the only you're ever going to get. You're the only person that's going to be with you from the moment you gain consciousness to the moment you lose consciousness. So hating you seems awfully counterintuitive to your enjoyment of life. I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying.
This is why, though, I say this all the time. I don't judge people by the best things they do. I judge them by the worst things they do.
I think that is so well said. And I think that is kind of, especially now, the way we have to engage people. If you aren't working on your shit and trying to be a decent person, I can't trust you. That has to be the way that we go forward with these people that refuse to do the work. We have to let them know that. And will it suck? Yes. And do we love them and not want to be away from them? Yes. That's why they've had so much goodwill thus far. And all that is doing is teaching them that it's okay to behave like that. And we can't keep giving y'all these passes to hurt us. Gentlemen, we just can't. Our species can't take it, and our hearts really can't. And we would rather not leave this on our children and grandchildren. We care about them, even if you don't. So get it the fuck together, gentlemen. We need to start getting this worked out and correct your shit.
All your work can be undone with one act. All your great work can be undone with one act, in my mind. You can be doing you could be risking your life. You could be out there, boots on ground, organizing all the things, right? All the things. Now, your work itself, I'm saying the impact of your work is going to be felt no matter what, right? So don't get me wrong. I'm saying how I view you, though. How I view you can all be undone.
Yeah, no. How I view you can be undone by one act. One heinous act can change how I view you in entirety. And some of you know that personally.
By one act. That's it. That's all it takes. Now, this is Mandy. I've used her videos before. She makes really good content. When I come across her stuff, which isn't all the time, but I come across it periodically, and almost every time I come across it, I'm like, oh, this is good. This is insightful. I feel like I probably use her content like 50 to 60% of the time when I come across it, right? I think I've used like 2 of her videos before. She makes really good content.
I feel the same way about you, Pub. You make really good content. And I like Mandy's content as well. And I often will go directly to TikTok. However, I don't feel like I can, in good conscience, use TikTok. What they want to do in tracking queer people and menstrual cycles and these things and give that away so that we can be tracked is so dangerous. It is so harmful to our rights, our human rights, civil rights. It's so dangerous. So I cannot hit accept on the terms of service. So I will not be using that site anymore. So I will have to rely a lot on the creators here on the YouTube. We are so lucky. So many of them are over here, and I will find other places. I am looking into some alternatives that are not run by oligarchs for us to start looking into, and maybe we can build some town square type resources for ourselves that aren't going to be taken over and controlled by the very puppeteers that want to stick their hands right up to your warm squishy booty. All right, let's see what that gentleman he's called OffJaWagon. His name is Jordan, that was in the yellow jacket. Let's see. He was doing good work. What did he do that is going to ruin his reputation, though? What is the thing in the multiple things can be true at the same time did he do?
I trusted Jordan, and he fucking violated that. Yesterday, Jordan released this statement with regards to the accusations that have been made against him. I am here to say that I am essentially victim A. I'm the person who came forward first. In this statement, which is really not taking accountability, he says, and while my recollection of the accusations are limited, I believe and take responsibility for them. So now let me tell you
That is a cover his ass statement because Jordan is married. So Jordan is not only abusing women that trust him within the activist sphere, he's abusing his wife by cheating on her and disregarding her thoughts, feelings in every way, shape, or form. And then saying bullshit like, I don't really remember what I did, but I'm sure I did it. To try to be able to go back to his wife and say, no, I just had to say that so that I can come back to my account. And he did say that so that you all would just be like, well, he took accountability. We love him, even though he sexually assaulted up to possibility 4 women and abused his wife as well. He was doing such good work, and he shouldn't just be remembered for that. He shouldn't be remembered for the worst thing he did. Yes, he should. Yes, he should. Otherwise, we end up with men like Trump, who are malignant narcissists, think they're freaking gods, and do Hitler shit all over our country.
You, my recollection, because it's pretty fucking vivid. Friday, January 16th, we were all out in Chicago. We had all had some drinks. We convened at this bar at the end of the night, and at the back of the bar, Jordan and his friend sitting in a booth behind a table. I come back there. Jordan's like, come on. And they make room. And I remember getting a vibe. I could tell Jordan was super drunk. Like my spidey senses, and I saw the space. I go, my ass isn't gonna fit there. Like I was trying to be just like, I'm just gonna stand, but they were like, no, come on. So I against my better judgment sat down. It's important to note I had this big winter coat.
And notice that she keeps very clearly explaining, like, against her judgment, like having the coat and all of these things that should seem irrelevant. But women are so gaslit and coded to believe that if we don't have every detail exactly right and we weren't the very perfectest victim ever, that nobody will believe us, because they don't. Because men go around standing up for each other. Because men will steal each other's man cards for wearing the wrong shoes, but they won't snatch a man card for raping a girl.
It was in my lap. That will be important in a minute. So we're sitting there. Jordan and I get talking immediately about Minnesota. I think his hand was like this at one point, and we were talking, and it was like familiar. We've been friends for a long time. I thought I could trust.
Now, that's another thing that we are also trained to, even though it's uncomfortable, accept it if it's going to make the situation weird. And like, if he's a friend, we're supposed to just assume our instincts are wrong and that y'all are good. We're supposed to know y'all better than that. We're supposed to always assume that you would never hurt us, because the moment that we snatch away, you're going to have something to say or make it uncomfortable. And so a lot of the times, a lot of women, because of how we're trained, will fawn and permit that uncomfortable thing if that uncomfortable thing isn't extreme. Like when he's grabbing the hand in an uncomfortable way and force holding it, which he shouldn't be force holding her hand. He has a wife, a whole wife.
I didn't think anything of it. I see, according to this, when he broke it down for somebody else, he asked his friend what had happened, and it was like, it was just flirty.
It doesn't matter. He's asking his friend as if he doesn't know what he did. He knew what he did. What he did was he did that homosocial thing where he goes and he asks his friend to validate him. He asks his friend to say that he didn't do anything wrong so that he can tell himself, you're remembering wrong, dude. You didn't do that thing that she said. Instead of being like, fuck, I fucked up. I have to fix that. I have to really do that work and unpack this. What made me think that was okay to do? So instead of asking himself, what made me think that was okay to do? He went and said, dude, um, 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 what did I do wrong? Somebody said I did something wrong, but I don't even know what I did wrong. In order to try to be able to claim that he did nothing wrong, or there was a misunderstanding, or it wasn't really his fault, or it was partly her fault, or, this, that, and the third, so that he can cover his ass, so that he does not face social consequences, which are what he's truly afraid of. He is afraid his wife will divorce him. He is afraid other men will not be friends with him. He is afraid you will reach into his wallet and snatch his man card for being handsy and rapey with women. But he is counting on you, his friends. He is counting on you. He is counting on you not to reach in and take his man card. And he knows that 9 out of 10 of you won't even question him. You'll just excuse him and be like, no, I just saw you being flirty is all. And that same man knows you're married and knows you shouldn't be being flirty with these other women, knows you're abusing your wife by going out and being promiscuous and flirty and giving your attention to others. Now, don't get it twisted. I am not saying that you can't have friends of the opposite gender. Don't be absurd. But friends with the opposite gender don't do sexual flirting. Your friend of the opposite gender doesn't sit and hold your hand like a girlfriend, boyfriend. Your friend doesn't put their hand on your thigh up near your pants parts. Don't play with me. And you know what I mean by giving your attention. You are giving intimate sexual attention to another person. So know what I'm saying and don't twist my words.
I could see that. I could see how that was the point of view from them. His hand was on my thigh, and it did kind of.
The point of view from them was the image he projected, and that coat protected him from the truth. That coat was his cover. That coat was his plausible deniability, because that's what he's really seeking. Plausible deniability. He wants to be able to continue that behavior. He's just upset that somebody is finally saying, this is not okay. I did not say this was okay to touch me like that. That's the thing that really bothers him, is that you didn't just take it silently. And that takes bravery. And it takes bravery to stand up. It takes bravery to say, this thing happened to me and it's not okay. And it is okay for you to speak up, because you need to speak up, because it's not okay for your abuser to wrap themselves in a cloak of innocence. That is okay for you to want to speak up just because of that. It is okay for you to want to speak up because you need to purge it from your system. It is okay if you want to speak up so that you can prevent others from being harmed. But make no mistake, it is okay for you to speak up just for you. And this woman is doing a lot of making sure that it doesn't seem like she's being selfish. We know that reason for that is rape culture and the fact that people will blame the victim. They will shun her and shame her instead of holding him accountable for his behavior. So she has to, in every way, try to make sure that she's a more perfect victim, because he is such a good guy. And he's not he can't be a bad guy. He's so good. Multiple things can't be true at once. This is why I'm always saying that. This is why I begin the show. Multiple things can be true at the same time. You can go through the world acting like you've got it figured out, and then if you don't have your shit unpacked and you don't have the shit that leads you to heinous behavior unpacked, you can end up like this man Jordan, going from well-respected, doing good work in and for the community, to being called out because you're doing rapey shit during the Civil War while we're fighting for our rights. It is bad enough you doing it on a regular Tuesday, but you doing this shit on a Tuesday while she's already in trauma. Like, you added trauma to trauma and insult to injury, Jordan. This woman's already out there fighting for her rights. She's already out there fighting for her life and my life and the lives of others. She's already out there being brave and bold in the face of what is assaulting us. And you have the unmitigated gall to sexually assault her during these times? Heinous. Jordan may be able to convince those nearest him to forgive him, and he is welcome to do the work to earn that. But he should never be platformed again, because he used that trust to abuse people, and not only the people that he was working with, not only his colleagues, but his wife as well. So while he should be given the opportunity within his family and his friend group or whatever to earn the trust back of the people that he did not actively abuse, not his wife, you should leave, sweetheart. He won't stop. He won't stop. If he's cheated on you once, even, he doesn't see you as a person. He sees you as an object. And don't be like me. Don't stay with him after you know and risk losing your life, because that is a very real threat with these men. They bring things home and they don't tell you. And the number one symptom of an STD is no symptoms. So leave him. All right, let's continue to listen.
Move north, and I did, push it stuff, but I was not. He was drunk, and we were just talking. I did not think he would cross a line. My friend Ross comes over. He hands me a little toy car. Now I'm such a nerd. I thought this little car was so cute, and I am sorry I forgot it, Ross. I think you'll understand why in a minute.
The toy car, that being a focus, that is important, because that is the thing that could distract and make it so that she could hold during that really uncomfortable thing where this man that she doesn't want to believe is doing this to her is actively got his hand on her leg moving north. She's trying not to react, and she's trying not to cause him problems. You notice how we're trained to not cause y'all problems? She's actively being sexually assaulted, and she's still trying to find other things to focus on other than the fact that this person I trust, my friend, is doing this to me. And the truth about it is, the thing that sucks the most about it is, it's almost always somebody we know. It's almost always somebody we trusted.
So I'm sitting there playing with it. My hands are occupied. I have a coat in my lap, and under my coat, I feel Jordan shove his hand in my pants. Now, I stopped it before it got to the desired location, I imagine.
That is sexual assault. And to do that, like in a public place where you know he is counting on this person to not react, to just let him do it. And you know that he is doing this so boldly that you can tell he's done this before. If he's that bold and he's that sure that A, she's not going to do anything about it, and B, nobody would believe her. He's sure of it because y'all have created this system to where y'all will blame her for it. And everything, every minute detail that she tells, that she's trying to make sure that y'all know there's nothing for her to gain by making this claim. Because there's not. They have proven that 98% of sexual assaulters get away with it. 98% of perpetrators get away with it, and only about 2% of all false accusations are actually false accusations. And because of this system, because of how y'all will blame the victim and excuse one another, this continues to happen. And we're having this debate, this conversation about it, while this man's free, having a whole wife and family. And he's just, he's just going to exit the internet a little bit, after admitting that he sexually assaulted somebody. No consequences, please. No consequences. I have to run away from the consequences.
But I fawned. I didn't know what to do. I was like, Jordan, no, we're not doing that. And I just remember him being like, yeah, we're not doing that.
It is absolutely natural to fawn. It's fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. You don't get to decide what trauma response you have in that moment unless you are trained to deal with a particular type of trauma. You just don't. It's fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Your brain says, oh, this is the thing that'll keep me alive, and that's what it does. It is entirely okay and not your fault that your brain said, fawn, fawn, that'll make him stop, and didn't have you punch him, even though some heinous ass piece of shit is going to say otherwise.
I didn't know what to do because I was so fucking caught off guard. But they wouldn't.
Your brain did what it thought is the right thing to do. Your brain set off a bunch of chemicals, and those chemicals said, don't panic, don't make a scene. That's how we survive this.
Have seen it because I had this fucking coat here. Do you not think I wish I'd have made a goddamn scene? I wish I would have fought. I wish I would have said something. I wish I would have not had a coat in my lap so they would have seen what he did. Absolutely.
That's such a valid thing to wish, that your panic response had been other than it was. And I'm so sorry that so many heinous ass people will treat you as though your panic response was the wrong one. And you notice that she's saying this because y'all have built the culture where she feels this is the truth, because she knows that y'all will behave as though it is. Behave as though she somehow reacted wrongly when she acted in an entirely natural way for her brain to act. But rape culture says that it has to somehow be her fault because you can't ruin his life. It can't be his fault. I mean, he just aggressed on her body. He just took liberties that weren't his. But you can't blame him. It's a heinous culture that y'all are continuing to perpetuate. And it's really kind of disgusting that y'all want to be associated with that. It's really gross to be called onto a species where half of my species has decided, yeah, no, it's okay to assault the other half. They're not really people. It's fucking gross. Y'all should work on that.
Absolutely, but I didn't. And so I saw an opportunity to get up. When people were going to karaoke, I saw him go over and start kind of like dancing and not paying attention. And I saw my friend Maggie, Mermaid Maggie, I love you. I said, do you want to get out of here? And she said, yeah. So we bounced. And I'm glad I did, because as we were leaving to hit that Uber, I remember the sensation of like, I don't want him with us because I don't trust him. And I was like looking over my shoulder, hoping he wouldn't see us leaving. That says so much. I was processing what had happened in real fucking time, and I was scared of him seeing us leave.
And that is a way that your brain is like reacting. It really does say a lot, because you may not be actively thinking anything at that moment, but you're processing it, and your brain is going danger, 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 and it's looking for the danger. You're trying to get out of there so that you can like articulate what has happened, what is the problem, and your brain just keeps going danger, danger, danger. That is awful. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
That says so fucking much. So we left and we got to the hotel, and I was right, because you know what he did? He called me and wanted my room number. And I said, Jordan, I am not giving you my room number. And he repeatedly was asking me no less than fucking 10 times, saying things like, oh, I just want to come hang out. It'll be fine. And I'm like, that we both know that's not true. Go to bed. You'll thank me in the morning. Go to bed.
Before anybody excuses him, he has a whole wife. But he wants to go abuse his wife. And some of you are going to be out there and excuse him because he's going to go abuse his wife by being with another woman. And some of you are going, that's not abuse. Go read Lundy Bancroft's book. He's the expert.
I said no at least 10 times.
She sort of only had to say it once. Keeping trying, that's manipulation, that's coercion. Attempting to wear somebody down until they give you what you want is a disgusting abuse tactic. You are filth if you do that. Especially if you do that for sex. You're the lowest of the low.
Regarded consent at least 10 times. I finally said, Jordan, you're drunk. Go to bed. Good night. And I hung up. I woke up in the morning to find that he had tried to call me and he had said, oh, I can't get into my room. Bullshit.
That's another manipulation tactic. So not only is he abusing his wife by trying to cheat on her, and actively, I'm sure, cheating on her plenty of other occasions, but also psychologically abusing this woman after he sexually abused her. Y'all really aren't bringing your best. This is your best. This is the best of y'all that we're discussing. I want y'all to keep that in mind. We're discussing the best of y'all. Yeah, the best of y'all. This is the best of y'all?
To the front desk, but like I was gonna let him in mine. Now I wasn't feeling 100%. I never drink, so and he leaves me with like a migraine and ickiness. So my friend Matt USMC in Grady, who's like my brother and one of my best friends, stopped by with some Sprite and some popcorn, and I said something happened with Jordan last night, and I need to tell you. And I said we were at the bar. His hand was on my thigh. It escalated. I left. We got back, and then he called and would not accept no for an answer. I didn't let him in my room, but he tried over and over and over. And Matt didn't know what had exactly happened, but he knew that that was a violation even in and of itself. I expected Jordan to talk to me Saturday. I thought he'd ask me what happened. I thought he would talk to me about what he did, but he didn't. Didn't talk to me Sunday, didn't talk to me Monday, didn't talk to me Tuesday until I had had enough of the silence, and I texted him and said, dude, this is what you did. And again, even in that, I said, it was a little flirty, and then it escalated and I bounced. I wasn't ready to admit what he had done, but I was stressing like you didn't accept consent. When
If a woman approaches you and says, this thing you did made me uncomfortable, it means this thing you did crossed a line. And she is trained to try to protect your feelings while she tries to get some sort of accountability for what you did to her. Because this is what rape culture does. It trains the victims to have to constantly make sure that they are the best victim, and that they're not too hard on their perpetrator, that they're not too hard on their abuser. If y'all had to try to survive as a woman or a femme person for 15 minutes, you would collapse. You would collapse.
And I said no about the room. So he calls me. And I replay the whole thing. And again, I say, we were at the bar. You had your hand on my thigh. It escalated and I left. Do you think he asked me what he did? No. Nope. Didn't ask.
No, he didn't ask because he knew what he did. He knew what he did. He remembers what he did. He's done it to others. He said that he didn't remember so that he can tell his wife that, so that he can make that claim to his friends, so that he can protect his little man card in his wallet, and because he knows that that's all he has to do to make sure he faces no accountability. He knows that the system, the man system, and this system is made to protect him from doing that. He knows that rape culture means he'll get away with it so long as he says the right thing to cover his ass.
Because he knew what he did. He knew what he did. He was just going to try to play it off and blame it on the alcohol, but he knew it.
Like I said, thank you, public. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Please continue to validate me being correct. Please, I will take it all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Yes, thank you.
He did for sure.
Asked me what the escalation was. Now imagine if that were me and somebody said to me, you were drunk, it escalated, I left. Like whatever it was bad enough that that person just fucking bounced. I would have been like, what did I do? He didn't ask.
Well, and that's because you're a person of empathy that values your engagements with others. That's what it shows. It shows that you actually value others, and he values himself in covering his ass.
And I think that's when I finally had enough pretending that that's all it was. In fact, he was more worried about who I had told.
And that is an awfully insulting aspect. I would probably be awfully angry at that aspect too, him being mostly worried about who I had told. That tells me, when he's asking, well, who did you tell? That tells me he knows that he did something wrong. He knows he messed up. He knows it was wrong.
He said,
That reminds me of, and I say this a lot, but I watched a lot of like, like true crime TV, and the police always talk about how when they pick somebody up who is like suspected of committing a heinous crime like murder, usually, a telltale sign is when they get arrested and they don't ask why they're getting arrested. Like if you arrest me, I'm gonna be asking why. Because I didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? Like if you arrest me, I know I ain't do nothing. I know I ain't do nothing. So I'm be like, what the hey, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? My assumption is I'm getting arrested for being black. Like I'm like, oh, it finally happened, y'all. They just arresting black people out here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Unfortunately, we're there. Please be safe out there. Please be safe out there. As safe as you're able to be. I wish all of my cousins and relatives and friends of color, please be as safe as you're able. I know I say that, and like, how do we do that? Ghost Pepper, I know. I don't know. Travel in packs and pairs and don't be alone and be as safe as you're able. I love you all.
He said it wasn't my fault and that he accepted responsibility, but also he was drunk and didn't remember things. But also, hey, who did you tell?
I take responsibility and it's not your fault. It's totally my fault. I was drunk. So like I wasn't that bad because I was drunk. So it wasn't like all the way my fault, but it was my fault. And but who did you tell though? Because like I don't want my wife to find out. I don't want my friends to hate me. Did you tell the whole group of people that respect me? Are you gonna put this, like, am I gonna lose my platform?
So I called Matt after. And I said, Matt, I said, did I tell you what the escalation was? Because I just kept calling it an escalation for 4 days.
That is training too. To just keep calling it an escalation, to not want to name it, to not want to say the thing that happened to you, to not be able to say it out loud. Because if you say it out loud, the moment you say it out loud, it's true. Then it's true. The moment you say it out loud, it's true. And your friend did that to you. And everything everybody has ever told you about the fact that your assailant will be somebody you know is true. And it's ringing in your head and you're going, I was so stupid. How could I be so stupid? And you're blaming yourself in 10,000 different ways and telling yourself it wasn't, it couldn't have been. I'm mistaking this. That can't be true. Because you don't want to believe that's true. You want to believe that that person that you thought was earning your trust, that person that was so kind to you, that person that was showing up as your friend, you don't want to believe that they were doing that in order to be able to hurt you. And the moment you have to accept that they were, your entire heart breaks. And you don't want to get to that moment.
Because I didn't want to admit what my friend had done. God damn it, I didn't want to cry on the internet.
Not wanting to admit what your friend had done is entirely natural, because once you have to accept it, once you have to admit what they had done, you have to accept they did that to me. This person I cared about did that to me.
And he said, no, I figured you'd tell me when you were ready. I said he put his hand in my pants and he got fucking mad. He's like, Mandy, that is sexual assault. And I said, I know. He said I stopped it and I left and I did everything I could. I did everything right, but yeah, I know. And I said, should I call Jordan and tell him? Because he claims he doesn't remember. He's like, it's up to you. But yeah. And I called Jordan. I said, Jordan, you know, I said there was an escalation and I asked you, do you remember what happened? Because you didn't ask me. Didn't ask me what the escalation was. Do you remember? He's like, no. I said, you put your hand in my pants, Jordan. That's what you did. And he didn't really have much to say. Again, he kept just saying, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't remember, but I take responsibility.
Because he doesn't think it's that big of a deal. He doesn't think it's that big of a deal. So long as he can get away with it, though, he just needs to get away with it. And he doesn't think it's that big of a deal unless he doesn't get away with it. Unless he faces consequences for it. So he'll manipulate and gaslight and play the guilt card in order to not face those consequences. And you'll be real worried about who did you tell, though.
I said, I don't know what to do with this. I have to go. And I let him go. And as people in the Chicago group found out what had happened, other people came forward. I will not speak on their behalf. Their stories are never going to be mine to tell. But they came forward for me to corroborate my experience so that I knew I wasn't alone. I was the one who had someone, it was only me that I'm aware of that he tried to put his hand down their pants. I've seen some videos of people saying all four women. No, that happened to me.
As far as people who have come forward so far, and it is my understanding that more people have come forward in order to validate her and corroborate her and make sure that she knows that she's not alone. And because of the way that rape culture is in our society and how often the victim is blamed, that really is an enormous boon, because it is so hard to go and seek justice, because in the justice system they will re-abuse you, and it's because of rape culture that they can do so. And because of the nature of that re-abuse and the fact that the prosecutors will only prosecute a slam dunk, or they have really good proof because our system requires you prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, they won't prosecute all of them. And in fact, there's so little priority put on it that there are rape kits sitting on shelves that haven't even been tested.
There were varying things that happened to other women that were deeply inappropriate or crossed a line, but that was what he did to me, his friend. Which brings us to today. I saw this video from this woman who is super fucking self-righteous and trying to defend Jordan by saying, well, he's been in the trenches. It is giving grab him by the pussy. I'm rich and I can do this. What the fuck are you talking about? She said,
the guy was in the trenches in Minneapolis. Have you been there?
That is no excuse. That is no excuse. You do not get to sexually assault people because you're fighting for people's rights. You don't just get to sexually assault people. There is no pass that gives you the right to sexually assault people. You pick me asshole. What even the hell? You lady pants that said that thing really need to go do some work as well. You are a problem. You might be the problem.
And to that I say, yes, I have. I have been in the fucking trenches, ma'am. I have been fighting this, as has every woman that was involved.
As I showed last week, it has been a lot of women that have been fighting in these trenches, a lot of women that have been out in those protests, a lot of women that have been dealing with the fact that their husbands are cowards, that they want to fight for their rights, but their husbands don't.
And it wouldn't matter if we were or we weren't. You don't get to give a pass for sexual assault to somebody just because they're doing one thing good. I came forward.
That part, though.
Because we as creators have incredible access to people, many who are vulnerable. They look up to us. They trust us. And I didn't want anyone else to experience this, because also
they do trust us as creators. There is an innate trust, especially with creators that have large platforms, and he has a large platform, and he can use that trust to not only assault his colleagues who he earned that trust with, but also young girls in his chat, young women in his chat. You don't get a pass to sexually assault people because you have done some good work in the field. That is a disgusting and heinous way to think. That the cost, that the prize they get to have is our bodies. Excuse me, lady? Excuse me?
at a lot of these things, there's alcohol. And it's clear, Jordan, that you have a problem. And I hope you get help. I really...
It's not the alcohol. It's not the alcohol. The alcohol gives him a way to excuse it with people, but it's not the alcohol. I guarantee you, that's who he is. It's not the alcohol. That's him. If he thinks that that is an okay thing to do, drunk, he thinks that's an okay thing to do. Alcohol doesn't make you do those things. Just releases your inhibitions.
Because I have been absolutely destroyed by this. She also asked this.
Jolly Ginger, where are you guys at? I want to need some support for this man.
And I hope it's okay that I answer, but Jolly was on.
And of course, she's this woman, this pick-me woman, of course she's out there. I'm going to stand up for the man. I wasn't there, but I'm going to say that she's lying, and I'm going to demand that the other men come and do the same. And that is the way that oftentimes women will perpetuate that rape cycle. And it's heinous, and it's disgusting, and it's worse when you do it, lady. It's worse. It is disgusting. It is filthy, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You're excusing a young woman being sexually assaulted because the man did some videos to showcase the truth. But you're going to ignore this truth. You like him. So you'll excuse him hurting somebody else. I mean, it's not you that he hurt, right? He didn't stick his hands down your pants. She's right in what she said earlier. This is giving, I can grab him by the pussy. I have the followers. I'm popular. I can do what I want. I'm famous. It's the same kind of shit Trump used to be able to do it. And this woman over here excusing it like that. Heinous.
On the phone checking on me. The amount of people who have checked on me. Because Jolly understood that what happened to me was never okay. And it wasn't my fault. So you want to know where Jolly is? Why he's not on here defending someone? It's because he was checking on me.
Good job, Jolly.
I never wanted this. I'm getting nothing from this. I'm not even monetized on this account. So before you're all like, it's over a minute, she's making me, no, the fuck I'm not.
Goodness gravy. Goodness gravy. There is no benefit. Period. There is no benefit to a false accusation. What do you asshole men think the benefit to a false accusation is? I would really like for your shit asses to write your worthless excuses in the comments, because I would like to know what you think the benefit to a false accusation is, when you know how coercive and manipulative and entitled y'all behave. You just want a way to be able to look in the mirror without seeing what you did. That's why y'all blame us. That's why y'all put all the onus on us. I know the truth. But sure, go ahead, tell me. Tell me what y'all think the bennies are. What are the bennies of a false accusation? Huh, sirs? You want to tell me? Weak-ass little weenies. Can't be likable and liked. Can't do a little bit of hard work in the mirror. Instead, they gotta go project themselves all over others and take shit if it ain't theirs and act like they're entitled to things they're not. That's weak. That's pathetic. You ain't strong. You're pathetic. This is where y'all get mad at me. I mean, y'all were probably already mad at me. Y'all were probably already mad at me. What am I thinking? This is where y'all get mad at me. Y'all pretty much stay mad at me, huh? I say all the things you don't want to hear, all the truths you're not ready to accept, and I remind you that the hard work is what you refuse to do. And so many of you love to tell yourself, I'm a hard worker, because capitalism tells you that that's the thing to idealize, is like this capitalism type work. And yet, I'm a hard worker. Men won't do the actual work that it would take to manage their emotions and rely on women and others to do it for them. It's really rather absurd and very, very pitiful and pathetic. But hey, let's finish this conversation so that, we can move on to a new topic. As gross as that will be next week. Let's go.
this whole OffJaWagon thing has got a lot of us a little bit fucked up. So let's get into it. First of all, Jordan was a mutual of mine. We had kind of a similar style, and I liked what he had to say, and he liked my stuff too. And so it made it super disappointing when I found out this information. And when I found out the information, I was very confused because it was somebody just accusing him of walking around sticking his hands down people's pants. And I was like, how? Who can do that? Who's going to walk around a bar just cramming his hand down people's pants? How did somebody get away with that? And like, so my brain wasn't like, this can't be true, right? And then more people started to talk about it. And so I went to his actual page, and then I saw his apology, and I was like, ah, fuck. Then I suddenly started to feel irritated with myself, thinking, am I a bad judge of character now? Because
No, you're just conditioned by rape culture to be a misogynist jackass and not believe a victim until you have had it some way confirmed for you by the perpetrator. Because that's what you did. And that's what you're admitting to here. You may be a decent dude, and good on you for standing up and saying, I believe her now, and your instinct was to be like, no, my friend didn't do that. You see how you perpetuate the cycle of rape culture? Because your first instinct wasn't to be like, oh my goodness, is she okay? I should check in with her. Your first instinct was to be like, no, my friend wouldn't do that. When you know damn good and well that he's a married man and you've seen him flirting with women all the time. You know that. Don't play like you don't.
I used to be a really good judge of character. And I think that's why a lot of the people in the
It's not that you're a bad judge of character. It's that you're a man and you have not unpacked the patriarchy. You have not unpacked your misogyny. Your go-to is misogyny because you were raised to just not be us. And then you were given a platform and given all kinds of unearned privilege. And so you believe that you're just better at it. You can just tell. You're steeped in it, my dude. You can't see it because you're steeped in it.
comments were saying stupid shit like, don't worry, man, you're going to come back stronger than ever after this. I think that they saw this
Thank you for at least calling that comment stupid shit. Appreciate that.
as an attack on their judge of character. And hope
And that's pretty much how you seem to behave as well. You're projecting there. Listen to what you said right before you said that. Rewind this, re-listen to your words.
hopefully now that this is set in a little bit longer, maybe they understand that their focus was kind of in the wrong place.
As was yours from the beginning of this. Can you admit that? Can you say that? Say that. Say, I was wrong. I fucked up.
But then last night I suddenly remembered that Jordan was also friends with another mutual of mine, Mandy, Potty Mouth Pollyanna.
Who he sexually assaulted.
So I went to her page just
Who he sexually assaulted. Who is the victim that you were like, no, that didn't happen at first, because your instinct is to do the misogynist thing and not believe that that happened. Not believe the woman, not believe the victim.
to see if she had
All because you want to believe that you're better at figuring out if they're good or not.
to say about it. And holy shit, I definitely wasn't expecting her to be one of the people that he did that to. And listening to her tell her story from her perspective was heartbreaking, to say the least. And when you've been following a certain content creator for years, you start to feel like you get to know them on some level. The sad truth is that even people that you think that you know well in life, even family members, sometimes you don't really know them that well.
Good on you. Good on you for saying that. And that's so true. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I think this is the perfect time to say it is almost always somebody you know. It is almost always a friend or a family member that will assail you.
And we don't want to admit that to ourselves because it sucks. It feels like we're more alone in this world than we are part of a collective.
Thank you for saying it that way. I think that that is a perspective that I needed to hear, a way of saying it that I did need to hear, that that is a reason, that it makes you feel more alone. And that sucks. I think that that is valid, that that is the reason why we clutch on to those people and don't want them to be whole people capable of doing awful things as capable of they are of doing good things. The truth is, we're all that. We're all just as capable of doing awful things as we are of doing good things. It's a matter of doing the work to unpack our biases and to check our impulses and to check ourselves and to keep ourselves from doing awful things. And I mean, some of us don't even think of doing awful things. Personally, I don't think of doing anything awful, really. The most awfulest thing I think of doing is trolling chuds on the X. I do a little bit of light trolling. I do. Yeah. All right, I admitted it. I do a little light trolling. Let's keep going.
Because if I can't trust this guy that makes me laugh or makes me feel good regularly, then who can I trust? Jordan had close to 900,000 followers, and so a lot of us thought he was a pretty good guy. And he...
Followers doesn't mean trust. Followers doesn't mean good person. That is one of the things that is getting kind of out of control. You assume followers to be good person, and that's not necessarily true. Sure, it can be. What it means is this is a personality that's dynamic, and usually it means this is a person that is man-coded that I like listening to because they make me laugh or whatever. The most popular creators are men, especially when we're talking these sort of important topics.
He may not be a totally bad guy, but he definitely has some things that he really needs to work through.
We all do. We were all raised in a white supremacist, patriarchal, misogynist society. We all do. And not all of us are going out there and sexually assaulting people. He is. He's going out there and sexually assaulting people.
And I really hope that he gets the help that he needs. But more importantly, I hope that the people that he victimized are okay. And I hope that we're not about to find out that there are a whole lot more of them. Anyway, the whole situation fucking sucks. We can at least agree on that. And the thing that really makes me...
We can agree on that. And you need to unpack your misogyny because you still have not come full circle to the fact that you first instinct went to blame the victim. You need to unpack that, or you will do that the next time as well. I'm not saying this to be mean to you. I'm saying this because I believe you are going towards the right direction. And the only thing that I see wrong in is that your first instinct was to blame the victim. And I want you to note that your first instinct was to blame the victim, to say, no way did he do this. By denying what the victim says, that's a victim blaming. That's a victim shaming. Continue to do the work, and thank you for speaking up and speaking out. That is the right thing, and it takes bravery. And just keep doing the work. You are worth the work. Keep doing it. And gentlemen, do the work that he's doing. He's absolutely right. And you should go watch his video and get
that is that every woman you know, every single woman has been the victim of some sort of sexual contact from a man.
Every one of us. Every single one of us, usually before we were 16.
That she did not want. And this should go without saying, but guys, we have got to do better. And parents, teach your children well, especially your little boys.
And that is a mood. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. That is the truth. And well said. I appreciate it so much. We got to hear it. We've got to say it in public. As always, well done. I appreciate you so much. All right, y'all. You've made it to the end. It's time for therapy prompts. Ha ha ha. Therapy prompts. Okay. I will answer the two from last week. When you're looking to escape for a few minutes or hours, what do you bury yourself in, and does it work? Currently, 7 Days to Die. And yes, I hyper-focus into it quite well and quite thoroughly, sometimes to the detriment of disappearing hours. But it's pretty good. It gets me out of my head, and I just, yeah, I like the video games. That is what I disappear into. And my current game this week is 7 Days to Die. What task seems never ending in your life? Is it worth pushing through to get it done? Or is there room to settle it goody fucking enough? Well, filming. Filming and editing, that seems the never ending. Like I have to film, I have to edit, I have to clip clips, film, edit, clip the shorts. That seems to be the never ending. And goody fucking enough, I think I have to sometimes, just because I'm disabled and it's hard for me to do everything. And so sometimes, yeah, sometimes they have to be at good enough. And I hope that good enough is good enough for y'all, because I really do care about this work. And I really, really do believe that we can do this. We can set the example we need to see moving forward. And men, you don't have to be this gross thing. You don't need to be difficult to endure and deal with, because some silly men with a lot of money really need you to be difficult to endure and deal with. They only want you to be that way so that they can erase our species and upload themselves into computers. You really shouldn't be facilitating that kind of nonsense. All right. Next week's prompts. What situation or person is guaranteed to exhaust you every time? What energizes you and brings you back to a great or at least manageable mood again? All right. All right. Let's go. All right. I like these new prompts. All right. Those are our prompts for next week. I still haven't found the pom-poms since the move. Yeah, I know. Fireworks for you! Ba, 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 ba. Y'all are the best. Celebrate you in the most ridiculous way imaginable. All right, y'all. Go forth into the world. Do that thing you do. Remember, every time you say a bad thing about you, you say two good things about you, because you're the only you that you're ever going to get. And you are important. You deserve to love you the way that you will love any one of us. And please, be intentional in your humanity. Be very intentional in your humanity. It, our interactions with each other are very important, especially now. So be intentional in your humanity, and don't use silly excuses like alcohol for bad behavior. And also, I like food. Food is delicious. It's so yummy. I make these really yummy like breads. I make bread all the time by myself. I make my own bread. I don't buy bread. And like I am enjoying things like lentils and chia seeds and things in my breads lately, because they're little cholesterol eaters. So if you want to help me buy food, the Kofi. The Kofi is the best way. Or you could get yourself some merch. I got stickers. I got Ice Melts Democracy. I got cute things. I got other cute things in there. Just go look. Even if you just look and like click on the things, that'll make the algorithm go brrr. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it very, very much. Thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you next week. And I hope that most of you have a great day. I hope that a lot of you have a great day. I hope some of you have a great day. I hope ICE has a bad day. In fact, I wish for every ICE agent a pebble in every left sock and every right shoe from now until forever. Go suck a L. I'll see the rest of you next week. I love y'alls. Not the ICE agents. Y'all suck elves. The rest of them I loves. ICE agents suck elves.